What is going on, everyone? We are here for week 4 of the Fanatec GT3 Fixed Challenge Series. This track guide this week, we are at MotorLand Aragón we are using the Porsche 911 GT3R 992. So we obviously did this guide last week for the Ferrari, so it's pretty cool to be able to then back it up the following week with a different style of GT3 car. So it'll be quite interesting to see the differences between the two cars. But yeah, so hopefully your first 3 weeks of racing's been handy and you've gone well. Let us know in the comments how you're going. Hey, we're pretty excited to hear if our guides are helping you along the way, or if you're picking anything up, or even some great feedback. We've had some awesome feedback along the way. But yeah, so thank you for everybody that's liked, shared, followed, reacted with the page. It's really means a lot, guys. So we're really enjoying doing these. So without further ado, we will kick into MotorLand Aragón for round 4 of the GT3 Fanatec Fixed Challenge Series. Alright guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as you come into turn 1, you want to be as far to the right hand side as possible. I sort of placed 2 tyres on the curb roughly. It sort of varies a little bit. It's very interesting between the two cars. So obviously we did the Ferrari fixed track guide last week for the Ferrari Challenge Series. Obviously slightly different setups, but you sort of go about it the same way. There's similar types of cars in a lot of ways. So it was quite interesting to compare the cars. I've definitely found with the Ferrari, I was a lot more sort of tail happy and sort of a lot more oversteer, and the car was a lot harder to turn into the corner because it was like the rear was chasing the car sort of thing. Where the Porsche is probably a little bit more balanced across. And probably a little bit more towards an understeery car, if I'm being completely honest, in some of the medium to high speed corners. So, alright, so what we do is as we're into 1, we brake at the 100 meter board. There's a white line on the road just where we are, and then as you come in, you want to brake nice and aggressive. 5th gear, back to 2nd. I'm finding just to give the car a little bit of extra rotation. And then as I turn in, I'm turning in 3 red cubes from the end of the curb. So at this point right here, we turn in. So as we turn in, you want to take a nice and aggressive turn at the corner. and you'll see that as I turn the car, I actually put half the car over the curb, and you'll see the little red bollard. I want to get as close as possible to that and let the car rotate through the corner. And pick the throttle up. It's gonna push wide on the exit. You're gonna get right close to the curb, and then you want to sort of hug around the corner. I'm actually dropping 2 tyres over the curb here, wrapping the car around, then letting it come off near the blue cone. Then as I come up, where I also found with the Porsche, it had a longer gear stack, so the gearing in the car is a lot longer, so I was able to hold a lower gear and sort of carry speed through in a different way, if that makes sense. So where in the Ferrari we were 5th through here, in the Porsche I'm 4th. So just little things like that sort of have changed. Hold the car to the outside, half the car over. I sort of use the positioning of when I'm in the middle, when I'm in the car. If the car is over the curb completely and directly in front of me, I'm in a good spot. Turn the car in as the curb turns in. Now with the Ferrari, I couldn't hit the curb. With the Porsche, I can actually clip this little curb and it doesn't kill me. I still wouldn't recommend it. You lose time, but you can nick it. It picks a wheel up, but then it lands really nice. It's really compliant, and then it continues through the corner. So 4th gear through here. If you get the run right, you will pull 5th. About here as the curb ends on the left-hand side. Sort of set yourself up mid-track as you're coming through here. 5th gear. Then as I turn in, I sort of turn the car into the corner. And then I aim for the fence. So I sort of start to diagonal the car out. Back to 2nd gear. When I get to the curb, I should be about this point here. So 4 red blocks from the end. I square the car up. As soon as I get to 3 red blocks, I start to turn the car at the corner. Right in, get nice and close to the curb. Pick the throttle up. Car's going to push wide again. You're going to clip the apex. You're going to clip the curbing on the outside as you're leaving. Follow the curb around. Stay like tight on the right hand side through here. Use all of this and then let the car start to drift across. I hold 3rd gear through here. You'll hit the limiter about 15 metres before you get to the 50 metre board, which is your braking zone. So about this point here, you will breathe the limiter if you get a really good exit out of the corner before. And I just sort of, as soon as it pings, I get off the throttle, I roll it in, I brake it nice and straight, and I just find it's a little bit more compliant. I feel like if you pull 4th gear and then go back to 3rd and then back to 2nd to rotate the car through this corner, because I'm finding 2nd gear's the best gear to get the car to turn through this next corner. I just find that you kind of overrun your entry a little bit because you're just carrying that slight little bit too much speed on entry, and it hurts your exit then. So I find just holding that 3rd gear for that split second and then going back the gears, get nice and close to the edge of the curb. Same again here, turn it. This one's a bit weird because I'm not using the red ones here. So I use the red ones because they're a bit more sort of, they stand out a little bit more. The yellow tends to blend in here, especially with the sunrise coming up as well. If you get a bit of sun in your face, it does tend to sort of make it a little bit harder to see. So, but with this one, I do use the second last yellow. I turn the car in and I rotate it late. I want to clip the curb just as we're nearly through the corner. So right here on the apex. And then what happens is the car will push wide here. I don't know why. On paper it shouldn't look like it does, but there's something about the car as it flows out of the corner, it just seems to want to run wide, and the more steering angle you're going to put in it, the more chance of over rotating the car and ending up on the inside fence. So the car's going to push wide. You're going to end up in this position sort of here, half the car over the curb, which is fine. I just make sure I get back on the track by the end of the white dashes bits on the green stuff. Come down through here, so 2nd up to 3rd, so 2nd out of the corner, 3rd. And then as you're coming downhill, I'm braking it just before the 50. So I'm braking it 1 red cube before the 50, right? Now, in the Ferrari, we're 4th and we're going back 2 gears here. This one's actually quite better in the Porsche because I'm only going down that 1 gear. So 50 metres, back to 2nd. I'm actually able to get the car to slow earlier, and then as I turn in, right at the end of the curb, I actually put 2 tyres back to second as I enter, 2 tyres on the red sausage part of the curb. The car will pick up and start to rotate, which is what you want, because what you want to do is you want to come off the curb, be as close to the right-hand side of the track as possible. So then as you roll down and you start to turn the car at the corner quite early, because the car cambers in and then slopes around and then starts to fall back out straight on the exit, you want to hug that camber as it drops in. Get nice and close, 2 tyres over the curb. The car's going to rotate down. It's going to end up flattening out, and then you're going to push right to the end of the curb. 2 wheels over the back of this curb. Use all the circuit here as you come down. As the white line starts to dissipate into the other white line, so at the white cube off the back of the curb right here, you sort of follow that with your car. And then you start to, from that point, rotate the car right through the corner. I do lift here, but it's not a off the throttle completely. It's like 100 to like 80, maybe 75, depending on how much momentum. And then soon as the car's rotating in, and I'm at the point where I get to this point where I'm on the edge of the grass, 3/4 of the car over the curb, then I'm back on the throttle full noise. Car's going to push right the way to the edge of the road, use all the track, 2 tyres over the curb again, run it down, start to bring the car back on the track, but I stay to the right hand side because I'm setting myself up for the next corner up here. So then as I come up here, I want to get as close as I can to the edge of the road. I'm looking for the start of the curb on the right hand side, so just here. This is where I start to brake as I get to the curb or the white line at the 100 metres. I use the curb. I just find I can run it that little tiny bit deeper. And then as I run it deeper in, I let the car track right to the edge of the road. 5th gear, back to 2nd gear. Very late turn in here. At the end of the last cube, turn the car in. Use all the curb. The car's going to push wide to half track. From 2nd up to 3rd. Now, as I turn 3rd, I start to turn the car at the corner. See how I'm quite shallow here? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all this track here. So I'm going to use all this curb. I'm going to run the car right across the curb. Let it run right to the edge of the road. And then as it gets to the curb, I run the car over the back of the curb, still in 3rd gear. Now, as I get to the white line across the track, the start of the cones, that is when I brake the car 3rd gear, back to 2nd gear. I stay on the edge of the road until I get to the last cone. Once I get to this cone here, I start to rotate the car in at the corner. The car's going to push quite a bit mid-corner here because you are carrying a lot of speed. So you're going to come off the curb. The car's going to set about 3/4 of the way through the corner. What I want you to do is sacrifice a little bit of this exit speed here. Try and get the car to rotate to sort of this point where you're in line with the second last cone. And then I want you to turn the car at the corner really early. Now, it's going to feel super unnatural, but what you're trying to do is you're sacrificing this 150 metre stretch of road to really make sure you get the best drive possible out of here, down that longer back, well, it's not the longest part of the back straight if this was open and there was no chicane, but this long section of back straight where you can really maximise time. You can also set up a pass into the braking zone, into the hairpin at the braking zone. So by making sure you sacrifice a little bit here and getting that real good drive out, you're going to actually help yourself down the other end of the track down here. So set yourself up, turn the car in nice and early, use all the curbing on the inside, get as close to that little, like, I don't even know what it is. It looks like the top of a fire hydrant, to be honest with you. So it's a little curb, but it's a strange design curb. It's obviously meant for motorbikes or something like that. Get as close as possible to that, and then the car's going to push. It's going to have a bit of understeer out of here, but you just got to make sure that when you do get to that curb, you're not throttling up before it. You're throttling up on the curb. The car's going to come off the curb. It's going to push right out. You're going to use about this much of the curbing as you leave the track. You want to make sure your right hand side tyres are back on the track as you come off the curb. Run it straight down this nice long straight. Make sure you get some slipstream if you're racing somebody, and then you want to set yourself up for the braking zone. So Just come through here, nice cruisy. You're looking for the 100-meter board down here. Sorry, 150-meter board. My mistake, but I actually do go past that. So I'm actually using the start of the curb. So it's about probably 135-ish, and I use the start of the curb here. So as I'm set myself up here, you just want to make sure you're maximising your braking zone here. So nice big brake pressure, 6th gear, back to 1st gear. So you're using all the gear range down here. Massive amount of pressure, right? And then there's a couple of different ways you can approach this corner. I'm finding for myself personally and my driving style, I like to run in, I wouldn't say deep, but I like to sort of run in a little bit deeper than I probably would at other places, then rotate the car back and then focus on the drive out of the corner. So I run it right down to the last curb, turn the car in. The car's going to sort of feel like it's understeering. I clip the apex on the exit. And then once I clip the apex on the exit, I pick the throttle up. The downside of me doing that is I do end up further to the right-hand side, which does make this little kink up here a little bit harder. The benefit that I have, but, is with the Ferrari, I couldn't do it because as soon as I started to turn the wheel at this kink coming from this side, the car felt like it was going to snap. This car doesn't have that factor, for one. And now I'm able to actually use more of this inside curb. So as I come in, I can actually carry more speed through here, get close to that little round curb again, and carry the speed through here. Let the car track out. The car's going to end up 3/4 track again on the left-hand side here. And then it doesn't really bother me here because this last corner is flat, wherever you sort of, whatever angle you take it from. So you can take it from right to left. You can take it from left to left if you want to, because it's such a unique corner in the way that it opens up quite wide. As long as you come in, carry all that speed, you can come back out here. I'd recommend letting it run wide because you're going to not have as much steering angle, less friction on the tyres. You're going to open the corner up a bit more. But the unique thing is that corner can set you up to have a really good run down the straight and into turn 1 again for maybe not so much a braking maneuver, but definitely being close enough to put pressure on somebody. So there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough track guide of MotorLand Aragón in the GT3 Fixed Series. Obviously, us driving the Porsche. I hope this, guys, has helped you heaps, and look forward to hearing how you guys go for this week's racing. And good luck, and we will see you for week 5 next week. Thanks, guys.